Hello, hello, everybody. Onto Digital Tea Time. Welcome. It is 4 o'clock, and we are waiting for Whitey Lamar to tag herself in so that we can have this go on. I know it's an early interview today. Sorry, you can actually see the sun peeking in and looking at my fat ass thighs, right? In this outfit. I'm actually in house clothes. I threw my hair into this. Oh, she wants to be added in. Yay, I'm approving now. Well, that was quick. I'm telling you, you guys are getting fed this now.
What is
Yay!
that? Why talking about them thighs? I'm like,
I
what
know.
kind of interview is this?
I know. Well, I was just fixing this, and I could see when I was rolling back, my fat ass thighs were like front and center. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, that you all just had to see that. But that's okay, you know. It is what it is. Oh
My
goodness.
hair doing its own thing here.
Oh, you look beautiful, hon.
Thank you.
I was just complaining because it's hot. I got the afternoon sun coming in this window in my office, so I was trying to fix the curtain, which is why everybody saw my thighs. And I was like, I mean, they're covered. They're just big.
Right. More to love. More to love.
That's what my husband don't complain. He likes to hug them and whatever.
I'm sure he don't complain.
So it's all good, Yeah. So how are you today?
Good. My face is a little sunburned. The kids spent 4 hours at the playground.
Oh wow! But they're
Nonstop
tired
energy. No, they're not. They never are. They're like the Energizer Bunny.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, I was actually meeting somebody who was in our dark group over there since she lived around me. Yeah, so it was okay. The kids were playing and we were just getting to know each other.
Was it nice?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of awkward when we all feel so close, but yet we're so far, aren't we? Like we're not really together. Yeah. So it was a nice experience. And we're both introverts. We're both like, this is like the first time we're coming out of the house in a while to meet each other.
Now, for those who are viewing, me and Youngda and Selena, as well as a couple of the other authors on this dark and taboo romance reader group, and that's from there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a great group. If you are a woman, I recommend joining it because I feel so supported on that group for, when women share their traumas and that the support there is so uplifting. Honestly, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't know it was a reader group. It's so
right. Everyone's posting like personal stuff, which is good. It's private. Yeah. Everyone's supportive. You don't really have the usual haters or
Yeah, no trolls telling you
right.
You suck and
people making you feel bad just for being you. Good grief, we have enough of that in the world.
I know, and I think it's also because, like I said, you throw that taboo in there, and there's no kink shaming, and which I like because anybody, hi Lene, anybody who writes or reads my books.
Right. Like little spanking.
So Renee's here and Selena's watching, and it's early, so you might not get a lot of live viewers.
That's okay. I know it's the whole time difference thing.
Yes, so a lot of people are probably still at work right now at 4 o'clock, across the country, but they can catch up later. I'll upload this video. Hi, Mommy. My mom's on here. I'll upload the video to YouTube so that you can post it to your other places because my group's private and it never lets you really share from a private group. So well, let's talk about you. First, tell us who you are, because I'm saying your name one way, but you don't write under this name.
No, I do not. You see, I have had history with stalker exes and such, so I had to kind of let's see what kind of name I can say that it still hints at me. But if they were to, low key start researching, trying to find me, it wouldn't be me. But whatever if they do. So Whitey Lamar came from when I would work in healthcare. Nobody knew how to pronounce my name. I'll be their therapist and like I don't remember that one chick. So I started telling people, okay, my name is like Yonda, like over yonder, so you don't forget. They're like, oh, okay, over yonder. I'm like, oh, this will be a good pen name, Yonder, right? Yonder Mar being half of my last name. It also derives from God of War. And I was thinking, Yonder Mar, I think people would figure that out quick, that it's me. So I had another friend from the dark group who said, why don't you just put a little something in it like De La Mar instead? I was like, oh, I like that. And then, to hide my name even more, I shortened it to YD Lamar.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. I was like, and it's interesting too, because I feel like that name fits for the various things you write. You know what I mean? It's
Does
not
it?
like, well, I think it's because, I knew you initially as almost kind of like a street lit writer in some ways, like reading um, uh, the one with the spider.
Arachnophilia.
Yes. Sorry,
Yeah,
it took
yeah.
me a second to remember. I'm like, what's that word? With the spider and the,
Mm-hmm.
the whole gang life and this kind of very hard anti-hero who is like, I'm claiming my woman, she's mine,
Right.
anybody touches her and she's gonna
Mm-hmm.
accept me as I am. I know it has that non-con sub
Yeah, it does.
dubcon. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means non-consent. Dubcon is dubious consent. For those of you who enjoy maybe a little taboo into your romance.
Yeah,
And that's
definitely
okay.
taboo.
It was interesting too. And I think about that story too, because the warehouse.
Oh, just wait till you read book 3. It's actually the full fleshed out book. And
I
then
got I gotta get on my TBR. It's so terrible because I'm trying to catch up
it's
on.
okay.
So
I can
I have
explain a little
actually
bit.
read, because then I jumped from there to what you sent me, Heart of the Reaper.
Uh-huh.
So whole different.
Yeah.
You know,
Each book I write is so different from each other. Even within the trilogy, they
yeah.
are so standalone. Even if I didn't have the first book, the second book would still be in existence. Even if I didn't have the second, the third would be. Because the first one takes place in one hood.
Yeah.
That's the world. The second one takes place in like a whole different neighborhood. It's just, sometimes people cross over the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then the third one takes place in a whole different hood. So they're true standalones.
And and I find that interesting because I know the neighborhoods in your stories, at least in the street lit ones, they're like ethnically diverse, right?
Yes, they are.
So because
Because
I think I was
it is
reading
what it is.
Mexican
It,
cartel, I think, right?
it's more just street level gang. I
Okay.
know there's a lot of books out there that are more mafia cartel level.
Yeah.
I would,
I knew it was like a supplemental because you had told me that, so I figured it was something bigger. But
yeah,
he did have just that street dealer, street
yeah, yeah,
running
yeah.
feel to it, but I wasn't
I,
sure.
I wanted to write a story that was more homegrown. I guess that's the word. Where yeah, we read books to for our fantasy and mafia. It seems so far fetched from our daily lives. I wanted one where it's like this can happen in your backyard. Like
Yeah.
this is for
Now,
real.
now I'm asking first, what languages do you speak?
I speak English, of course, conversational Cambodian, and conversational Spanish.
Okay, there's the Spanish. I was gonna ask
Yeah.
you because I was like, I was reading it and I was like, oh, her Spanish is this isn't Spanish. I was like, she's not Spanish. Well, I think this is before I actually got to see like a picture
Right.
of you or anything.
Right.
And I'm like, why do you Lamar? That doesn't sound like that. But I can't say nothing because, like my mom's sitting here watching. She's Puerto Rican. You wouldn't know it. I was,
Right.
so you can never tell anyway. But I was just like, God, her Spanish. She even put a glossary in here. For the
Well, I
non-Spanish
used to
speakers.
work in healthcare, and my first job in my career as an occupational therapist was actually in the hood. So growing up in the hood, I already knew a little bit of Spanish, but working in the hood, you really have to pick it up because you got to explain to family members, what you're doing and what you're expecting and how they hope to recover. So yeah, I picked up a lot of Spanish.
I was like, well, but people surprise me because, I'm terrible, especially with the MS. Like, I can't memorize for nothing. So, I'm like, I barely speak English at this point in my life.
No.
But I was curious because I was like, hey, but I know people are out there like mastering 3-4 languages. Not me, but Yeah. So it's like, well, I love that you did that. And then when you said that each one was like a different ethnicity, I was like, I wonder if she's like going through like, you know, but I guess it is personal experience, you know. In
It
that
is. I growing up, and born in a refugee camp. They sponsored us over to America. We were dropped off in the Bronx. We're all over the place in different hoods. It's just how it was during the 70s and 80s. And growing up poor, this is what you grow up with. And
yeah.
you try to escape one hood to get a better life, but then all you can afford is the other hood, right?
Yeah.
Hood after hood after hood. So
Now, you know, and I've read some of your personal posts about like, you know, that kind of coming from, you know, like the refugee camp, like your mom. You were actually, I think you were speaking about the strengths of your mom, actually,
right.
and who's now, is she still under the weather?
Yeah, she still has a trach in her throat.
I wasn't going to
Can't
go into
cough.
detail. That's why I'm
Well,
not, I'm not.
it was a result of COVID. Let's just put it that way. And she's
Yeah.
still recovering in a nursing home. She's
Okay.
in her 60s. We hope she makes it.
Okay, that's one. I didn't want to. I'm not suppressing what she's going through. I knew she had
Right.
that. I just
Right.
didn't. I wasn't gonna. And I would like make you say it, not me say it.
That's okay.
So, I think about that because she looks so happy in the picture that you took, even with all that
She
she's
puts
been
up
through.
a good front. Even on the days where it's really bad, growing up in my childhood, she's always a smile. That's why nobody ever knew what happened at home. Right?
Wow.
Nobody ever knew how bad it is at home because when we leave the house, we're all like, yeah, we're a happy family, just going shopping.
Now, see, you're going into a very vulnerable place here. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Can we talk about this? Okay,
Oh
so
yeah, that's definitely
for
fine.
those of you who are watching, if you go in and read Young's feeds and stuff, you'll see that she talks about abuse in the home and the struggles that her mother, who's just incredibly amazing and strong, has gone through. Like she said, from refugee camps to a new country that's not their own, to having to start over, and then having this violence in the house. Now, is it a cultural violence, you think, or just
See, that's hard to say because obviously in any nationality, there's always that small pocket handful of people that are like that. But it is. I have found it common, but at the same time, our culture during those times is an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
So it's not like you really knew the person. It's more like, oh, the village reputation says this. And if the guy comes to ask the father hand in marriage, it's either yes or no. And people are getting hands in marriages by like age 14 or whatever. It's a different world. It's a different world.
So was your mom married that young?
She was married. Luckily, her father and her family loved her a lot. She was getting hand in marriages early, but she was able to push it off until around 18.
Oh.
Which to them during those times, like, you getting kind of old, girl. You better start picking somebody.
Oh, wow. And that's amazing. And I only asked if it was a cultural because, hard times and, breed violence, like violence is bred in places like with, low economic,
right.
and stuff like that.
I think for her case, it was more of my father's family was, how to explain? My father's father was sold into slavery by his father for some opium. And it's just how it is. And, he escaped slavery, ran down to Cambodia, fell in love. But the familial cycle of violence continued, right? Because that's all he knew. So him raising my father, it was probably the same. And then not like it gives them an excuse, but it plays a big role. And my father, that's all he knew. And the cycle just continues until, me and my brother were like, no, that it doesn't have to continue. You choose your own destiny. It doesn't have to be in your blood because it's not.
So you have this rich, fascinating history, sad, tragic, but fascinating, like you said, sold into slavery for opium, cultural violence, forcing you into a refugee camp, sitting here, and then, arranged marriage, relationships, violence in the home, and then growing up in a different culture. Do you feel like this influences your work?
Of course. I feel like I always like to use this phrase in many things I say is perception is a person's reality. The perception of everything an individual goes through in life will affect how they see life in general. And that probably plays a big part in why when I read, it's like, oh, is this what you guys consider dark? Like, I think I've been so tainted in darkness personally that when I read it, it's like, nah, this sounds more like a little bit first world problems. It's not that bad.
And it is perception, because like
Right.
you said, coming from slavery and refugee camps, someone
Right.
where places like that have like constant abuse and rape and violence
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
it's literally war and genocide. It was, the guy who made our government fall, he was looking up to Hitler and stuff. Just think of it that way for a country. And that's what they went through. And people are like, struggling to try to on foot run to bordering countries for help to reach these refugee camps.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just, so powerful that you share these stories with your readers and stuff. Does your father, because he's still with us, right? Like he's still alive, yeah. Does he ever read?
Sadly.
Well, I think he is, because I thought I read that he was, but I didn't want to assume. Does he ever
Well,
read like your
after the COVID thing, he has been blocked from my life. He
Okay.
is straight up toxic. Like the toxics we like to read, but in real life, it's not that fun. So
Yeah.
yes, he has been blocked.
Okay, so he's not reading, as you talk about what a piece of shit he is, for lack of a better.
Well, I think their education level from that time equates to my dad is probably early high school education, and my mom was middle school compared to like United States style.
Yeah.
So they can read and stuff, but it's not like their prerogative, like how we as first world people, we read for fun. They don't. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry to hear that it came to that place where you had to cut someone out of your life, because that's got to be hard, especially because your mom has decided to stay with your dad, right?
She did, but I think now that she is in a nursing home, my brother and I have tried to convince her to, whenever you get better, it has to change. You're going to go live with my brother because he's still in the same state with her, and he is better equipped to take care of her versus dragging her all the way across a whole different state to come live with me. But once that happens, yeah, my father's not allowed on the property or anywhere within the, 100-mile radius kind of thing.
So now it's very interesting. Like, for example, could you tell the nursing home, look, he is violent to my mom?
I have. It's been a journey from the hospital to the nursing home, because being married, you have the right to the information, but after we try to convince them like this is how it is, they've been cutting it back.
Okay.
But it took a long time because they weren't even willing to speak with me. And then luckily when my mom came to, she's all there, and she's like, yeah, no, just my son, he's going to be my point of contact, do whatever he says. So
now, so is it just you and your brother, or is it only?
that's another story. My mother had 4 kids. My brother is number 2. I am number 4. Number 1 and number 3 died in the old country from shrapnel or famine.
Oh,
during their childhood.
I'm so sorry to hear this.
It's the times. Things happen,
I know,
Yeah.
but that's such a hard place to come from, and you meet it with such grace and strength, because you're just, I'm so sorry, because that's a terrible way to go, and it must have been hard for you guys knowing that that's how it happened. That
I think for us, it's more like life is what it is. Why dwell in the past on those specific things? We just try to make our best going forward.
That's amazing. So when you write these stories, because I know you do write the dark romance, and like I said, you got the the dub-con, the non-con, you got violence. I think I always remember your characters getting in a fight and he like smacked the shit out of her. She's like,
Oh yeah.
Do you find that this is just is it therapeutic in some way to write these things as we revisit trauma, in our stories? Because I know I do as an author, and I know a lot of authors do.
Right. That's an interesting question. I've always found that despite having been in darkness and then kind of healing from it, you still find comfort in the things that you're used to, you know, almost like a battered woman syndrome, but in a sense that we come from darkness, and therefore I enjoy reading darkness. It's my comfort zone. And so it does kind of flow into my writing where I don't feel connected enough if it doesn't reflect enough of the horrors of life, because that is life.
Yeah.
Nobody lives in Pleasantville, despite what we put on in front of everybody else. Everybody's going through something, and I find stories are more compelling when there's more depth to it.
Yeah. Now, so this must be in some ways very difficult for you because, you know, you have this one foot in this kind of old world past of, you know, this darkness, if you will, but you are a mother with children and a wife and stuff.
Yeah.
And that I see yellow walls and I'm happy children at the playground. So it's not all darkness. So what's that?
It's not. It's not. Funny enough, I think it was my husband who really finally showed me what a man is capable of in the light, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
Because before him, I'll admit it, I went through, anybody I'm attracted to are toxic because that's all you know. That is what you were raised around. The example you have is toxicity, and therefore you feel like if I can make this toxic person get a, you know, turn a little better, change a little bit and love me, then I must be doing something right. And it took someone like my husband who's like, I just love you for you. You don't have to, you know, change or be this or be that. Is we go through it together. We're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And that I think helped a lot.
Now, and he's an American, like raised, born, right?
Yes.
So does
Yes.
he find your family and your stories in that to be difficult to witness and endure and interact with? Yeah.
Funny enough, I think I was led to the perfect guy because despite him being born in New York, raised in Colorado Springs, single mom home, but full of love, he is a two-time veteran, and he's been, like, you know, around the Mediterranean. He's been cultured. He's more worldly. And even after being a two-time veteran, he worked in the police department for 20 years, being around the melting pot of society here in the West Coast. I think it helped a lot because he's like, you know, I've seen it. I've seen the after effects. I've been around different cultures. He has a higher respect for different cultures versus a lot of the other guys I've been with personally. They're always like, really? Or they don't really believe me when I say things. Like, that can't be, because they've been too sheltered most of their life. And my husband being 18 years older than I am, I think it helped a lot too, that he has more life behind him.
Yeah. Now, and it's interesting because also in the way that, like, as a police officer, I mean, like, is that what stopped him from just wanting to, like, kick your dad's ass for hurting your mom and
Oh,
hurting?
girl. He's always like, if I was that kind of man, I would take out my sniper rifle right now, but I'm not that kind of man.
I'm just, wow, that's just because that, you know, he sounds like a fabulous man, you know,
Oh,
who
yeah.
loves his family. So it must be so hard to know that, you
It
know,
is.
your mom endures this violence at home still.
Right.
He, you know, he
Right.
still is with a stiff upper lip and a smile. I mean, just kind of like,
Literally.
I made this commitment to my arranged marriage and I'm
Yeah,
sticking it out.
I always say, devoted to a fault, because that's just how she was raised. There's not really such a thing as divorce in the old country during those times. This is it.
And then, you know, and having to not only live in this violence, but having lost two children to war and famine, you know, being away from her family that might still be in the old country. So it's only, I assume it's only you, your brother, her, and
Oh, we have some family here that made
okay.
it during the wartime sponsorship too. But my dad being my dad, we had lived on the East Coast with her side of the family, and he got jealous of everybody under the sun. And so he stole her away, took her to the West Coast, and said, I forbid you to speak to your family ever again. And the
Oh,
only time she was able to was somebody snuck in and finally contacted her and said, hey, our dad died, so you're going to have to come to the funeral. And yeah, and that's when my father allowed her to finally see her family.
oh my God, this is just,
I'm telling you, it's like the stories we read, right? The stories are so good. We
it's
love these
so
toxic
dark.
men, but
You could write this like a biography here. I don't,
I
I
know,
mean,
I know.
it's just so
It's the
shocking.
extreme.
But I'm a veteran too. I've seen the horrors of the world
Right.
as well. But what you don't see a lot always are the successes in the way of like the strengths. Like if like I said,
Right.
looking at your mom in that picture, she's amazing.
Always a smile.
I'm like, I cannot believe she's doing this.
Right.
And so well, good for your husband to keep his hands to himself and his rifle.
I know.
And his pistol.
He's too caring
and
for his
pulling
own
in
good.
favors to his friends at the police department, or people who owe him favors outside the police
Right,
department.
right.
So what? All right. What made you start writing? Because like I said, well, first, what age did you come to the U.S.? Was that like?
I think it was in '89. I was probably 4 years old.
Okay. So okay. So when did you start writing?
Growing up in the childhood I had, I wasn't allowed to leave the house, and so my only escape was the written word. So I started writing poetry every time I got so upset. But being raised the way I am, like my mother, I don't express it. I hold it inside. I've had a lot of exes tell me my thing is suffer in silence. That describes me to a T. And so in my silence, my emotions come out like a roller coaster on paper. And so the first book I ever published before my novels was actually my book of poetry from my childhood. And yeah, there's a lot of darkness there too, but it helped me a lot.
Wow.
Because I had nobody else
you
to
were
talk
always
to.
writing, and then so what age did you publish at then? So like how long did you
I only started publishing that when I decided to become an actual fiction writer. And that came about because I started reading a lot more now that I have more freedom being with my husband. He's like, do whatever you want to your heart's desire. Okay. Then I started reading, and then I hooked up with Goodreads. I'm like, okay, I can finally keep track of what I'm writing. And then I was like, oh, let's do some reviews. And so, a little bit my poeticness went into my reviews, and everyone started liking it. And that's when people said, you should start writing books. I said, you know what? Maybe I should.
Why not? Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
I only started writing February of this year.
Oh my goodness. So you are a brand new author in that way.
Yes, I am.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Right, so what was your first book?
It was The Scent of Jasmine.
Okay.
That one was loosely based around my childhood a bit and some of the exes I had. Yeah.
Okay. And so what genre would you put that in?
That's a hard thing. Every book I write is like, I don't know.
I know. That's why I'm not guessing which genre it might be.
I mean, it runs along the line of that arachnophilia, street gangs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else. There's darkness, there's non-con, there's dub-con, there's violence, death, and
is there a happy ending?
All my books have happy endings. I make sure, for now.
Happy for now until you bring in the sequel or what? Yeah, and torture your characters again. Wonderful. Selena's like dark romance. Selena says this is all dark romance. All right, so that was first book. So did it come with a sequel?
That was part of my trilogy where despite the main characters didn't carry over to book 2, some of the characters from that gang carried over to the new gang in book 2.
Okay.
I made it that way because, like I said, I wanted it to be a true standalone.
Okay. So Scent of Jasmine. So then what's book 2?
It is For the Love of Import and Blood.
Okay.
That was based on the Asian gangs. Import cars and yeah.
Import. Okay, God, wonderful. And then the third one,
To the Beat of the Streets. That's the one where the guy is from a black gang and he's been thrown in the pen for 7 years. Coming out, he's like, I'm tired of this game. I don't want to be in this anymore. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, and then what's your next book?
Arachnophilia. That was when after writing book 3, I'm like, I kind of really like this villain. I think it would be interesting if he would have won, because in book 3, spoiler alert, he dies.
Oh.
But in Arachnophilia, I'm like, well, what if he didn't die? What if it was the hero that died? That's how Arachnophilia came to be.
Oh my God, that is a spoiler. And you know what? It was a very interesting, like I said, the gang, how that played out. Like I said, and it was guys. If you do read the one I read, it's not for the faint of heart. I was like, well,
Yeah, right. That's how I felt writing it too.
I was like, whoa, let me breathe a little bit here. I was like, these are, choose your own adventure over here. That's Selena.
Yeah, basically it.
Like, okay, so then all right, so you have Asian gangs, black gangs, and then
and then it was arachnophilia. That's that choose your own ending.
Yeah.
After that, I did a sci-fi, the essence of Esme.
Okay.
Oh no, actually after that I did a reverse harem because I was tired of harems that weren't that culturally diverse. And I was tired of harems that all these guys get along like they're best friends. How can that be possible? Boys don't get along. And so I wrote Warring Sons.
Okay, I think I have that one actually on my Kindle, and I just haven't gotten to open it yet. I feel like, is that the one with the yellow cover?
Yes.
Okay, I have that one. I just haven't had a chance to read it yet. So
not a problem.
On my TBR, my TBR is so long. I'm like bouncing from book to book. I'm like trying to get through these. And for every interview, I try to read at least one at least. Okay, Selena's like, oh my God, read Warring Sons, Gary.
Yeah, you will either love or hate that guy because he is her stalker, and he's part of the harem.
Oh, okay. Stalker. Dude, I'm still trying to like come out of the one I just read that you picked up. What is it called? Take Me With You. I'm still, the mind fuckery there is still in my head right now.
I like that one.
It was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of like, and that happens when the books are dark like yours, and then I'm like, for a day I might be like,
you need to cleanse, detox.
I know. I'm like, can I, let me go sit in the sunshine and try to some positivity here. He's a villain with redemption is what Maria is saying. I love Gary. Okay, so now I'm more interested in meeting Gary.
He was originally supposed to be a villain, and then someone in the dark group, when I was talking about it, said, no, I want a stalker to be with her. Okay. And that's how I changed it.
For those of you who read streetlit or write streetlit, if you understood the dark romance, you would be like, I think I'm going to cross over because I want my gang stalker people, the urban, the dark romance readers love it. They love those anti-heroes, those thugs, robbers, drug dealers. They don't care. Stalkers, out of jail, in jail, kidnapping people. The one I was just talking about, he was a serial rapist, which is probably why I was so like, so you just, Selena's like, must read all this author's books. Read all your books. Don't ask any questions. Just buy them. Pick them up and buy them. So it's Heart of the Reapers, the next book then.
After the Warring Sons is Essence of Esme. That was my sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah, because somebody wanted a plus size black hero, and I said I can do that, and so I wrote it.
Okay, and then what is that genre? Is that dark romance as well?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi, yep. But is it pure sci-fi then? No romance?
Yeah, it's a sci-fi. There is romance, and there is, there is darkness there somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, and all right. So then after that is the new one.
It's Heart of the Reaper,
which is what we're here all about.
Yeah,
I have read it. I've actually read because you sent me 2 files. I was like, wait a minute, where's my bookmark? I'm like, I'm just gonna buy it. I'll buy it anyway, so I gotta leave a review. So now, what made you write this one? Oh,
see, from all the books prior to Heart of the Reaper, I literally wrote it with the masses in mind, saying not everybody's gonna love my type of darkness. I know this for a fact. So let me just dip my toes into a little bit of darkness so people can see my style. And then once people start enjoying it, then let me now introduce you to the things that I actually like. This is the stuff that I look for in books. And that's how Heart of the Reaper came to be too.
Okay. So the title for those of you watching, kind of tells you where we're going with this. He's a Reaper, so this is a
Mhm.
paranormal in that
Yep.
way, but he's not necessarily your traditional sexy
Mm-mm.
Reaper that you.
I love my ugly, damaged heroes. Real ugly.
I, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because when I started reading the description of how she's like, I was like, wow, we're really gonna, we're going with this. Okay.
Oh yeah, skeleton and all.
Yep, she's missing nose. Got it. All
Mhm.
right, we're doing this. So, what, like, what made you say I'm gonna avoid the good-looking reapers that and I'm gonna go for the, uh, sexy rotting corpses? Can I
Okay.
put those together in descriptions? Is that an oxymoron? It's not, right? Not in your book.
Well, for me personally, having read so many books that I've read and like across genres, all over the place, with sex, without sex, whatever, the common thing I found almost like a pandemic is we almost ignore the guy character's depth of personality because we're blinded by his beauty. Sometimes some books are good where the guys are like really deep. He's got some history, he's got some emotion. Most of them are not. And I find that, well, what if we take away that aspect that's blinding us as readers? What if he's not hot? And now you really have to fall in love with his personality, not his looks. And then because I like those books, I figured why not write one?
And it says Reaper's the best hero in feeling he doesn't understand the emotions because he has none. He's death.
Right.
This is coming in from Maria Blakemore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you asked me to read, I was like, okay, I was expecting a traditional Reaper one. Actually, I have one half written myself. I mean, Reapers are amazing,
They are.
And I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to read this. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was quite shocked by how it. First off, because I guess did I have a trigger? I guess I should have warned that I wasn't triggered, but I was surprised by the depth of abuse that the poor heroine had to undergo to get to this point. And I remember, I think I said something to you, and you were like, "Yeah, well, she can't be with Bear, which is the
Right.
name of the Reaper, unless she's
It's true.
gone through these hardships in life already." And
Right.
so I was kind of like, I'm glad they got to the happy part because I was the first half of the book just like,
Oh, girl, it's just 8 chapters. I even put it in front of my book too. If you can't handle it, skip to chapter 8.
skip to chapter 8.
And you can message me, and I'll give you the cliff notes. But it's worth it.
Chapter 8. That's that plan your own adventure Selena was just talking about. Well, I was just like, I mean, I can't, obviously I read it. I can't, it was that I was just kind of like, but maybe I grew with her because then I really could appreciate the hero at the end because I just, don't skip. Yeah, that trigger warning. I didn't skip anything. Selena.
I have trigger warnings for all my books. I will not lie to you. I am an open book, no pun intended.
She's like trigger. Actually, I just saw one. Who was it? Was it the Take Me With You that said if you have to have a trigger warning, this book's not for you?
Not for you.
That was her. Okay, that was that one. I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, damn. I guess that's maybe what they all should be. So, why a Reaper? Why a Reaper and not a vampire or a werewolf or
Well, that's a good question. A Reaper, I feel like, for this particular book, not only am I a lover of dark books, I'm a lover of monster books. And when I read a monster book and they sound so human, it actually upsets me. It's like reading if she was with a human. Why are you telling me this is a monster then? And so I really wanted to represent, well, what if this guy, he has no human emotion. He doesn't understand it. Not only on top of the way he looks, he's not human. So how do you fall in love with someone like that? And as you saw with our heroine, she got frustrated too. Like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm trying to love him and he don't love me.
Yeah.
And it took a long time for him to pick up the nuances of human behavior.
Now, for those of you watching who might not know this, there is, believe it or not, monster romance genre out there where,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's most these days it's most associated with tentacle love, but you know, it's any monster. We just,
Yes,
you know, for some
is.
reason it's like, oh, if they're shifters or whatever, we can slide that in the paranormal. But once
you see what I mean, but they're still people. They still shift the hot guys.
But once there's tentacles and stuff, it's monster romance and you know, so and I, will you ever write a tentacle monster book, you think?
Perhaps there's actually a book I've already completed. It's in beta phase after the Reaper book. It's called The Truth Enslaved. That entire book is full of monsters and nightmares. So
I'll have to check that. I'm sorry, like my eyes are watering because I'm laughing so hard.
So if you fell in love with Bear, you will find yourself falling in love with, in the next book, guys that, yeah, some of them don't even have dingers, okay? But you'll fall in love with the Bear.
Like, who needs a penis when you have 8 tentacles? Come on.
But it'll work. It works out. Everyone's loved the beta so far. So I'm confident in this one. It's a psychological thriller.
Yeah. Okay. So, going on from there, you said that one's in beta. So what are you writing then right now?
Right now, I am writing a nerd book. Someone had requested, hey, I want a book about a nerd, but not a stereotypical nerd. Like maybe on the down low, he's actually a dominant guy. So I said, hey, that's interesting. And then I threw out a question to my reader group, like, what is the most least represented minority that you would like to see in books? And a lot of people voted Native American. And so that's the hero of my book for this nerd book.
Wow. Now, you know, first off, going from nerd to dom, to me personally, you know, power exchanges and stuff, I don't feel like it's that hard of a jump, that much of a jump. If you knew the personalities of BD, you know what I mean? For those who read it, they're going to totally love this. They're going to be like, that is totally, you know, the sexy, quiet librarian, secret dominatrix is a stereotype for a reason, because it is those geeky guys who are the hottest probably in the bedroom. You don't realize think it, you know, you're like, oh, he's so this or whatever, he's geeky. I mean, but he probably would rock your world if you just given him a chance. Their personalities, while a little bit more submissive maybe in life or quiet or whatever, tend to take on a very dominant role in the bedroom. And it goes the other way, which is why you often see CEOs who go home and play, you know, games and enjoy cartoons, and they put on diapers and whatever, because I always think of, I forgot which is the reason why I said the diapers one is because I think it was from a movie or whatever where he was like a CEO and he would go home and he was being breastfed by, you know, and he had like the diaper. Well, anyways, the point being is that, you know, people who are often powerful in life want that break in the bedroom. They don't want to have to think or take, you know, give directions. They want to just be told what to do. So
that's okay. To each their own.
Yeah, we marry nerdy doms now. Looks like it's coming out here. Writer question: how are you able to write so many books in such a short period of time? That's coming from NV.
See, this. I think this goes back to growing up, how I was, suffer in silence. A lot of things run in my mind in silence. So once I decided to write the book, I type 100 words a minute, and it just started flowing. My first book I wrote in 2 days. And then after that, I sent it to the beta readers. And then once I sent it to the beta readers, I said, you know what? There's too many posts out there saying, I hate waiting for the next book. I wrote all 3 books at the same time.
Oh, wow. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any other questions while I saw reader questions. If I missed your question, please forgive me. Just repost it and I'll get, you know, I was probably wiping the tears out of my eyes and just totally missed it. It's okay. You know, who is your favorite author? Maria Blackwell.
I have so many, you know, for monster romances in my initial phases, Amanda Milo. She was really good at making really fun-loving characters and just making you laugh. Yolanda Olson for her twists and turns. I really love it. And she stands out to me because her Inferno series reminded me too much of home. And that's how I connected with Yolanda. Allie Vance, she's really good with her twists and turns as well. Yeah, I read everybody, but I don't really pinpoint too many people as like, these are my favorites. If whoever has a good book, I'll read it.
Yeah. Hold on a second. You're freezing up just a little bit. So we'll see. Okay, there you go. All right. So Nerd Dom is next. Is that a contemporary?
It's going to be a contemporary. And the way I write is once I put that first initial paragraph down, I kid you not, these characters take over my fingers. I don't know what's going to happen. These stories just go where they go.
Right by the, what is it, pants seat, right, or whatever? Yeah.
They go where they go, and I kid you not, their personalities just start to bloom on the page. And I don't plot anything. The only thing I plotted was, okay, he's going to be Native American. Let's see where this goes. The girl, okay, I want her to be Japanese American. Let's see where this goes.
Now, next question then is like, so you're self-publishing all your books. Yes. You don't have are you buying covers, making covers? What are you?
Oh, I'm making them. I'm too cheap, girl. I'm so cheap. The only thing I pay for is an editor, just to say, yeah, I had an editor. You know?
So there's a mistake, you have someone else to blame.
Well, my beta readers catch a lot of my mistakes. I am more than happy. Message me. I will upload that again, quick, fast, and in a hurry, because it's just me.
Now, you just started your new reader group, right?
Yes.
I was on there. I very much enjoyed myself. Matter of fact, my PA should be awarding somebody a $20 gift card and somebody else a $10 gift card. Funny story, my PA is like, your gift card giveaway license has been revoked because she says I spend too much. Like I'm doing it. Like, well, you know, I meant to actually put 10, but my finger hit 2. And once it was there, I wasn't going to take it down. And your readers were like, yeah, I follow all of you till, you know, and they were following because, you know, we put, you know, my reader group, my Instagram, and like my Amazon page and your Amazon page.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
And they were like, well, yeah, because they were like $20 gift cards. I'll follow you and everybody on the row below you. You know, but I loved your group. How did your takeover celebration go?
Good. You know, I never thought for myself to host one, but I had another indie author who had messaged me saying, hey, you know, I noticed you've been invited to like a few takeovers. I'm so proud of you. And then when I talked to her, she said she's never been invited to one and she's been writing longer than I have. And I said, you know what? I'm going to host one and you are invited.
There you go. It was fun. Now, Envy Rose says Gwen is going to get you. She did. She wrote me and she was like, you got to stop. And I was like, I know, because once my husband finds out how much money I've spent in gift cards this week, it's only been like $50. Nothing like Christmas. For those of you who are on my group, if you go look in the announcements and you just scroll to the end of the announcements, you'll see what happened over Christmas when 4 different people won $100 from me. One was like, I cannot believe we spent $1,000 on gift cards to your readers. I was like, I don't think I made $1,000 in 3 years or something. And so when I told him that Gwen was unhappy about my gift card spending, that I'm too, you know, he was like, oh, please, yes, listen to her. Stop, you know, thank you. So, and Vera is probably like, she's right. And you're right, because Gwen is, my PA is very much like that. I'm glad you had the takeover. I think I'm having a takeover. I've never done one myself either, but my PA wants to do one because you notice I just hit 1,000 people in my group. So if that comes out, or message her and let her know, hey, if there's a takeover, I want in on that. you know,
Yeah.
so you upset. But I had a great time in your takeover. I mean, but we were talking about ghosts, or at least on my side, because you know, I was like, what's the closest I have to a reaper?
I noticed that. I like that book. That book
Poltergeist.
made me laugh.
Spanking book.
Yes.
Poltergeist. It's not dark, but you know.
No, but it's funny. It's funny. I liked it.
Oh, that's right. You read it. You actually
I did. I didn't know you had one until you posted. I was like, oh, she has one. Let me see.
I do. I have books I gotta republish. It's terrible, but I have books that are just sitting here, and you know, but I write, you know, domestic discipline in that. But I don't know. I might start. I've always done consent because it's important to me. But as I read more dark romance, I almost want to kind of, you know, I've always gone maybe some do dubcon, but I might change my name a little bit. Like I was thinking, instead of Tia Fanning, Altia, like the name Altia Fanning.
Yeah.
Just to kind of try. I want to see, you know, if it helps me therapeutically, because as you know, I've sexual assault and stuff, a survivor as well, and I've always written, you know, these power exchanges and stuff. And you know, after I had my therapist tell me that I romanticize sexual violence in my books, that's what I'm doing, you know,
That's what they all say.
I'm like,
She reading it too.
I know, right? Well, I don't know if she is. She was kind of like this. I was like, but you know, I guess in that way, maybe I was, because you know the consent is so important in my books. But then I'm like, well, maybe it's time I went ahead and see how this goes, you know. And so I might do that for myself therapeutically as well, and just, you know, like I said, I won't put it under the same name because my readers expect consent, because it is important to me. But if I do, for my own, you know, I think I'm going to try it out. I don't know, maybe I'll go read your book again. I'll go read your books. Like, let me go back to that factory scene one more time. And then, you know, but what do you want readers to know about you, you know, as we're nearing our hour?
I'm just a reader myself. I'm like everybody else. I mean, that's about it. There's nothing special about me. And, you know, being an indie author, it's to answer one of the questions here, what's been the hardest part of being an indie author is getting exposure. I know I've been shooting out a whole bunch of books, but some of them only got like 2 reviews, 3 reviews. That's okay. I enjoy the process. I just hope other people enjoy my books as well.
Now, you seem to have a dedicated readership, you know.
Do I?
You know, I think so. You know, even if they're just small, they're dedicated to you. Like they're cheering you on, you know.
I'm glad.
And that's a lot to be said there, because you know, not every author has that. You know, I can see your best author friend, as we say. Celine has always got your back here, you know. She's like, you know, she's like, you know, I think it's gonna be great for you. I think you'll see. It's gonna be good. Well, you know, and I'm the most important. So she's the most important of your readers. You know, are you ever gonna do? You think maybe like not an anthology, but like a collab or anything like that, or?
Yeah, I don't know how it's done. I'm more than open for anything, just like I'm more than open to write any genre. People want to come with me with ideas. I'm more than open to let me try it. I don't know.
Would you ever, you know, go with a publisher if one came around, or are you an indie author forever?
I might be an indie author for a while to see how well this even goes, because maybe I'm being stereotypical. I'm not educated enough. I always feel that a regular publisher might limit me in the way I think and the way I write, because I know I don't write normal. I don't write the usual tropes and the usual sexual encounters in my book. I need to limit myself and make myself, how shall I say, uninspired because of that.
Yeah. And that could happen because a lot of publishers, do matter of fact, I think we talked about this in Selena's interview actually, where they
Mm-hmm.
didn't, the publisher has a say in how you present certain stories and stuff. They're saying, ooh, yeah, dark fairy tales and would you do fairy tales?
I would do anything. Girl, that sounds so slutty. I would do anything.
Well, it seems like you, because you're a very diverse writer in your genre. Like you literally.
Look, I am not afraid of, if I don't know something, I'm gonna start messaging everybody like I do now. Like, so tell me more about being a Native American, or somebody was married
So
to
you
one.
are researching all
Oh, I do.
your characters and stuff.
I would try to represent as best as I can, because there was a book that I read that didn't represent my own nationality that well, that upset me. I don't want to upset other people.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So like the character was Cambodian, or
It was half Cambodian, and
was it right? Oh my goodness. Wow. So you're like, did you write the author? So you should have wrote me first, a sensitivity reader.
No. I gave the author the benefit of the doubt. I know my people are very few and far between. You're not gonna run into too many, so I'm not gonna expect her to be, scouring the internet for them. So it's not her fault. But if I have the ability to do whatever I can do to the best of my ability, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're doing that. I know that some authors do get like sensitivity readers and stuff to say, listen, I've written a character outside my own ethnicity. Can you please read over this and make sure I'm representing properly and that I'm not offensive in any way? That's amazing. I love that. I love that so much. Any last things you want readers to look for with you, like social media? Where are you at? Like, where can people find you?
Mostly I'll be on Facebook. I'll be in my reader group. You can find me in the dark group, of course. I am more than happy if people want to private message me. A lot of people actually do. I'll talk to anybody. I'm sitting here, stay-at-home mom with these rugrats running in the back. So
do you have a lot of
as
them?
fast as I can.
Is there a lot of them running around?
I just have 2, and I swear my youngest is 6, and she's enough energy for 10 kids.
Oh, there you go. I was like, you're like red out, like.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And is your husband retired now, or is he working?
He is a retired officer, but he has since picked up another job because he wanted to be able to provide us with health insurance. Him being a veteran, he can go VA all day, right? But he wanted to take care of the family.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it says in the JP group, she's everywhere and loved. So,
I hope so.
Which JP?
The jealous possessive group, the sister group to
That's
the dark
right.
Group. Yeah.
Serena told me to join that one. I didn't join that. I gotta join that one.
They're not as open as our dark group, but they're still pretty good.
Yeah, I love that dark group. I'm telling you.
I know.
Envy writes, I wish I could be a stay-at-home mom. I feel like there's perks to both.
It's hard and it's nice. That sounds nasty, but yeah, it's hard and it's nice.
Why are we like this?
Whatever. That's why people read our books. It's because we're like this.
I know, right? Thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
I had a blast. I enjoyed so much being on your reader group. Thank you for allowing me to do that. Elise writes his task. Let me give you stay-at-home mom at my house. Right.
I homeschool too.
I appreciate so much that you came on and hang out with me. It's been so much fun, and getting to read your story as well. And you sent me another one I'm going to check out just as soon as I get like just 2 minutes, which is perfectly fine. For those of you, maybe start a stay-at-home moms group, because everybody's got like things to say about being a stay-at-home mom.
I bet, yeah.
And homeschooling too. It's hard, but you guys are great. You ladies are so strong. Kids and sex and monsters and tentacles. No.
Everything.
Everything. I look forward to catching up again. We'll have to do maybe, like I said, either a group takeover, and I hope you'll do that. And what was I gonna say? Oh my goodness, this MS! I tell you what, I forgot what I was just about. It was like right there. I was just it's like thanking you, telling you how great you are. Finding your books are on Amazon. When is Heart of a Reaper dropping officially?
Let's see. In 2 days.
2 days. 2 days for Heart of the Reaper people. So do go support her there. I don't think my PA has closed out my giveaway on her what is it's and Bleeding Flowers.
Marred Hearts and Bleeding Flowers.
Marred Hearts and Bleeding Flowers reader group.
My author name.
If you want a $20 gift card or a $10 gift card, you go on there. You know, did Tia say she was spanking you? God. Oh, I know. I need to get back to writing actually a spank. God, I'm so behind on it.
Your mind is on spanking a little too much.
Right, it's been too much these days. Well, I got another interview tonight, guys, with Catherine L. Evans, and funny enough, I just scheduled an interview with Golden Angel. I'm excited about that one as well because I write domestic discipline, and so does she. Among other things, she writes everything. Shifters too. She writes interesting shifters. I don't know if y'all knew this, but she has a small shifter line where, like, her character shifts into like squirrels and shit.
I love it. I love it.
I know. I'm like, this is awesome. You don't, you know. So great interview, ladies. Thank you, Mona.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys join the group, and thank you again. And I will see you all to follow up on questions in the comments. We'll go answer and hang out a little bit and see where it goes from there. Thank you so much. All right. Bye.
Bye.